Fellas, we've got a few champions in the UFC's history who have managed to get more than one belt and become double champ, and I'm going to be going through every single weight class and every single champion and kind of picking a percentage chance of what chance every champion has of becoming a two-divisional champion, or at least a double champ. I'm going to be doing it from every weight class. This, by the way, isn't how likely they are to be willing to go up. I'm assuming that every champion wants to go up, and starting off with Jon Jones. Now, Jon Jones is a weird one because he's already gone from light heavyweight to heavyweight. So I'm going to have to assume Jon Jones is going from heavyweight back down to light heavyweight. And I'm also going to be matching him up against Pereira instead of, trying to predict who's going to be champion by the time he's got down to light heavyweight. But assuming he's fighting Pereira, I'd give him a 30% chance. Now, I'm not giving him a 30% chance. And by the way, that's not you. The picture on the right of Jones when he's fat is pixelated. Anyway, I'm not saying, he's got a 30% chance of beating Pereira. I think he beats Pereira pretty comfortably. The 30% chance is him actually making 205. This guy's massive, as you can see. He's huge. He's getting old in age as well. He's got injuries left, right, and centre. I don't see this guy making light heavyweight again. And if he does, I don't see his performance being absolutely amazing. And for that reason, it's not as dominant against Pereira as it would be at heavyweight, and if Pereira was at heavyweight. But I do think Jones would take Pereira down like he did with Cyril Gane. Pereira's not a strong grappler at all. He's been out-grappled by people like Jan Blachowicz before, Yuri Prohaska, or even Adesanya in their fight, and I just think Jones would make easy work because Jones is the best wrestler in my opinion in the heavyweight division. Like I said, this would be at light heavyweight, but yeah, light heavyweight current Jones versus Alex Pereira. I think Jones would win, and I'd give him a 30% chance, but part of that chance, like I said, is getting down to light heavyweight, not the chance of beating Pereira. But yeah, that's the chance I would give Jones, going back down to Pereira. Now, Alex Pereira, now again, he's actually, he was middleweight champ, now he's light heavyweight champ, but to beat Jones at heavyweight, I'd give him a 20% chance. Basically, I'm matching him, matching him and Jones up against each other again. The only difference is this time it's at heavyweight rather than light heavyweight, which I would definitely favour Jon Jones. Like I said, he's been out-grappled before. At heavyweight Jon Jones, we don't have to worry about him being, pretty bad at light heavyweight nowadays. A current heavyweight Jones versus a heavyweight Alex Pereira, I think Jones would make easy work. I genuinely think it would be the definition of Jon Jones versus Cyril Gane 2. I said in, light heavyweight Jones, it would be scary for him because he's got to deal with Alex Pereira. I don't think Pereira would be that dangerous at heavyweight. I don't think the power would translate to heavyweight. The reason he was so scary at middleweight and even light heavyweight is because he's so big compared to the rest of them. At heavyweight, he's going to be undersized, especially against Jon Jones. So when Jon Jones feeds him a double leg takedown, if Jan Blachowicz was able to do it and Jon Jones, I think he'd be able to do it as well at heavyweight. So I'd give him a 20% chance of beating Jon Jones at heavyweight. I don't think he would, and I think Jones would put him out there pretty quickly because of the grappling difference. So I'm giving Pereira a 20% chance. Strickland, I'm giving him a 20% chance as well. We've seen this fight before. We've seen him fight Pereira before. Didn't end well. He got knocked out. I guess he is the champ now at middleweight, so I'm going to include him again. But assuming Strickland was to go up to 205 and face Pereira, I don't think it would have any difference compared to the first fight. I think Strickland isn't naturally a 205 pounder though. I think he'd be slower at that division. It would be a disadvantage for Strickland, whereas it's more of an advantage for Pereira to be at 205 than it is to be at 185. It's just Strickland versus Pereira too, but there's more advantages to Pereira. I'd give him a 20% chance. Maybe he'd change the game plan this time. Maybe he'd try and introduce more grappling to the fight rather than just stand with him, even though his standing is his strongest point. Maybe he'd have a different game plan. Maybe he's become much better since they last fought because, like I said, he has now become champion. But I wouldn't bet money on Strickland, let's put it that way. I'd give him a 20% chance of beating Pereira. I don't think he would. Leon Edwards, how big of a chance would Leon Edwards have of moving up and beating Strickland? Now, Leon has actually talked about moving up to 185. He wants to do it in his career. The chance I would give Leon Edwards is 45% chance. If these two were matched up against each other at middleweight, I would I would most likely lean towards Sean Strickland. Leon's very well rounded. I think he has the capability of out-grappling Strickland, even though Strickland's not a bad grappler, but it would be a super close fight. Two amazing strikers, two champions. Some people have compared Leon Edwards to Izzy in the past. I do think he's more well-rounded than Izzy. I think he's more willing to grapple. But I'd say Izzy is a better striker than Leon. But either way, yeah, I wouldn't... If I had to bet money on either him or Strickland at middleweight, I'd be betting it on Strickland. But because they're so close together in skill, I'd probably have to go with Leon. He's also shown that he's... Not Leon, Strickland. He's also shown that he's a more dominant champ so far than Strickland, because Strickland hasn't had a defense. Leon's on his second defense already, so... Leon has had a better title run, even though Strickland hasn't really been able to prove it yet, because, he's only just won the belt. But, yeah, I'm gonna give him a 45% chance. It's not like he's going to die making middleweight or anything, even though he's going up, not down, so that doesn't really make sense. But, yeah, he's a big welterweight anyway. I don't think he'd have too much of a problem making middleweight with Leon Edwards, and I think he could easily make middleweight, but... If I had to pick one of the two to win, I'm going to have to go towards Strickland at middleweight. Islam Makhachev. If he was to face Leon Edwards, I'd give him a 60% chance. That might be too high, but I think I think Islam Makhachev has the best chance of becoming a double champ out of everyone in the UFC right now. He's got all the skills. He's the pound for pound best, amazing striker, an even better grappler, and I think he could genuinely pose a lot of problems to Leon Edwards. Now, the downside is that Islam, he would be undersized at welterweight, because usually he's bigger than pretty much every lightweight he faces, especially when he's facing people like Volkanovski. So to go from a guy as small as Volkanovski to as big as Leon Edwards, it would be a bit of a jump. It is a different weight class as well, but I think Islam Makhachev, out of every current UFC champion, has the best chance of going up. Now, I would only give him a 60. I'm not going above that, because Leon's a dangerous fighter. He's well-rounded. He's shown that he can grapple. He's been facing non-stop grapplers, but I think Islam's definitely got the capability of going up to 170. I don't think it'd be too brutal for him to go up to 170. I don't think I don't think his performance would get necessarily any worse. The only difference would be the opponents are bigger. And I could definitely see Islam going out there and beating Leon Edwards just because of how well-rounded he is. So I'm going to say that Islam Makhachev has the biggest chance out of every champion, a whopping 60% chance. And like Leon Edwards, he's actually shown interest. He said he wants to move to 170 in the future after a few defenses. So that's Islam Makhachev. Volkanovski, 10% chance. The reason it's so low is because he's already had 2 chances and failed both. The only time I can ever see Volkanovski becoming a lightweight champion is if somehow Islam Makhachev loses to a contender, which I don't think is going to happen. I reckon Islam's going to beat all of these contenders. But if Islam Makhachev loses to a contender, let's say Oliveira or Arman Sarukian, and then Volkanovski, has got a few more wins at featherweight, and then they offer Volkanovski one more chance to go up to double champ, go up to lightweight and get the belt from there, and that's what he does, and that's the 10% chance. It's extremely unlikely. If he was matched against Islam again, he'd get finished the same way he did the second time. Islam was the better fighter between the two of them, at least at lightweight anyway, and I just don't think Volkanovski's ever going to become a double champ because of he's had 2 chances, lost them both. One of them was a brutal knockout, so yeah, I'll give Volkanovski a 10% chance. I don't think it's likely he's ever going to become double champ, and I don't think he'd beat Islam if they were to fight. So Volkanovski, I'm giving him a 10% chance. Sean O'Malley, I've given him a 35% chance. Now, if he was matched up against Volkanovski, I would pick Volkanovski to win. He's more well-rounded from what we've seen from O'Malley. He's got great grappling as Volkanovski. He's also got great striking. The height difference would be insane, though, between O'Malley and Volkanovski. But the reason the chance is so high is because, first of all, his takedown defense is amazing. Is Sean O'Malley, and I'll talk about that in Pantoja's spot as well. But he's got amazing takedown defense, so I don't think it'd be Volkanovski just bullying him with the grappling. On top of that, Sean O'Malley is a massive bantamweight. He's a massive bantamweight. I don't think he'd have problems moving up to 145. And I could definitely see Sean O'Malley catching Volkanovski. And this isn't on Volkanovski's end. This is more on Sean O'Malley being that good of a striker. I could definitely see Sean O'Malley timing it perfectly and catching Volkanovski, maybe with like a front kick to the face or, the signature move that he did to Aljo. I could definitely see O'Malley catching Volkanovski. And for that reason, I'm going to give him a 35% chance. I do think Volkanovski would win. And I do think Volkanovski should be, the betting favourite if he was to fight O'Malley. But just because of that chance of knocking him out and the fact that it's not, he's not going to decrease in skill if he was to move up to featherweight, I'd say that O'Malley's got a solid 35% chance. And finally, Pantoja, I've given him 15% chance. I don't think Pantoja has what it takes to beat Sean O'Malley. First of all, Pantoja's more of a jiu-jitsu guy, and he's not, you know, he's a great grappler, don't get me wrong, a great grappler, but he's a great grappler against flyweight. Sean O'Malley has shown that he's got amazing takedown defense. He's shown it against Yan, he's shown it against Aljamain Sterling, even though there weren't much grappling in that fight anyway, so it's kind of hard to, you know, gauge where his takedown defense is at in that particular fight. But O'Malley's got amazing takedown defense, and I don't think Pantoja would be able to just take him down and keep him on the ground like he's done to people like Brandon Royval and Brandon Moreno. And then on the feet, I think it's a completely different ball game. If Pantoja was at bantamweight and facing O'Malley on the feet, he'd get picked apart easily, most likely finished in the later rounds. We've seen that Pantoja does struggle with his gas tank in the later rounds, and I think O'Malley would just pick him apart and be able to maybe get a finish in the later rounds. I've given him a 15% chance because, like I said, he is a good grappler and he's got amazing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so maybe he could latch on a submission, but I just don't think it's likely. I think at bantamweight between Pantoja and O'Malley beats him 9 out of 10 times. So I'm going O'Malley for that one. I'm giving him a 15% chance. And yeah, that is how I would give every current UFC champion a chance at becoming another champion in a different weight class. Let me know if you agree. Let me know who you think is most likely to win a belt in a different division. And yeah, thank you for watching.